All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how to unfuck your brain so you can unlock success and you can unlock and achieve anything and everything that you want out of life. So you can achieve your goals of being financially free, achieve your goals of having, I don't know, your dream body or the life, the car of your dream, whatever. You can achieve anything you want if you stop, if you unfuck your brain. Now, a lot of you that are watching this video, your minds are probably fucked. And I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. I just mean this, I'm just being honest. And I know that right now you're probably feeling this urgent need to scroll and to click off this video because that's what most people do. They can't focus on anything for more than like 30 seconds, with TikTok and all these, apps, the short form content. People cannot focus anymore for long periods of time. And that's exactly why you're not able to focus on the things that matter and achieve what you want out of life. So if you're having this feeling of wanting to click off this video and watch something else, something that gives you more, I don't know, instant gratification, more pleasure, this is exactly the reason why you need to watch this video until the end, because I'm going to explain to you how you can stop doing that and focus on the things that actually matter and are actually going to give you a better life and achieve anything you want out of life. So let me start by saying that there are two types of happiness in life. And these two types of happiness, it's important that you understand the difference, because when you understand this, you know exactly what to chase and what not to chase. And you're going to know exactly what you need to do to achieve your goals. Okay, let's start with number one. The first type of happiness is called hedonic happiness. And this is the type of happiness that you get when you focus on pleasure, enjoyment, comfort, immediate satisfaction. It's about feeling good in the moment and avoiding pain or discomfort. And some examples are, eating junk food, buying something that you want, relaxing on vacation, or having fun with friends, which, are having fun with friends is not a bad thing, but when you're doing this all the time, it can be a bad thing. Like especially if you're doing bad things, like, I don't know, drinking alcohol or smoking weed or doing all these bad habits. So hedonic happiness is about, to make it simpler, it's about instant gratification. When you do the things that make you feel good in the moment, but you know that in the long run are not going to make you better, are not going to help you get to your goal, and that are not going to make you feel good in the future. Now, the second type of happiness that we have is called eudaimonic happiness. And this is the type of happiness that you get when you focus on meaning and purpose and personal growth and living according to your values. And it's a long-term and tied to fulfillment rather than momentary pleasure. So instead of focusing on instant gratification, you're focusing on delayed gratification. So this can be simplified to hedonic happiness, it's instant gratification, and eudaimonic happiness is delayed gratification. So the reason why you're not where you want to be is that you are always chasing the number one, which is the hedonic happiness. So the always chasing the things that make you feel good in the moment, and you're not doing enough for the things that don't make you feel good in the moment, but you know that in the long run are going to, help you get to where you want to be and, make you feel better in the long run. And that's why your dopamine levels are completely fucked up. Now, let me explain to you what dopamine is and how it works when it comes to hedonic happiness, so instant gratification, and eudaimonic happiness, so delayed gratification. So let's say this is a chart and this is your baseline of dopamine. This is your normal level of dopamine, okay? So when you focus on instant gratification, let's call it instant gratification to make it simpler. When you focus on those activities, so I don't know, like playing video games, eating junk food, or I don't know, watching porn, doing all this bad stuff, this is what happens to your dopamine levels. You basically get a spike that looks something like this. Okay, so your dopamine levels shoot up, and you get good. You feel good in the moment, right? But then what happens later when you're done doing these activities? It's that your dopamine levels just immediately go down, and the problem is that they don't go down to the base level. That this is your normal level of dopamine. So when you're done doing these activities, your dopamine levels don't go back to normal, but actually go below. And that's the reason why when you do bad things or bad habits, that's the reason why you feel like shit. Like, for example, when you eat junk food, it makes you feel good in the moment, but after you're done eating the junk food, you feel like shit. You regret it, right? And that's what happens. So your dopamine level spikes, but instantly it goes down and it doesn't go back to normal. It actually goes down. But when you focus on number two, so the eudaimonic happiness, and you focus on delayed gratification, this is where your dopamine levels are gonna look like something like this. Something like this they're gonna increase, but not immediately. You're not gonna have this big spike that you have when you're doing the feel good the habits that the instant gratification habits, but it's gonna gradually grow, and in the long term that's what's gonna make you feel good. Okay, you don't feel good in the moment. It's hard in the moment doing the habits like deep work or working out or journaling or meditation or taking cold showers, all the good habits that are good for you. It doesn't feel good in the moment, but it makes you feel good in the long run. So after you're done the habits, you actually feel better. So it's the opposite, right? When you're doing the instant gratification habits, you feel good in the moment, but immediately after it just goes down. But when you do the delayed gratification habits, you don't feel good in the moment because it's hard, but it makes you feel good immediately after. So that's the type of dopamine and that's the type of gratification that we need to look for in our lives. Okay. So let me tell you what exactly you need to do and what not to do in order to be able to fix your dopamine levels and focus on the activities that actually matter. So let me tell you what not to do first. First, you don't want to quit cold turkey. So let's say, for example, you have the habit of watching porn every day, or you have the habit of playing video games every day. You don't want to quit cold turkey, because it's like, if you're addicted, because that's what you are addicted to this habit, and this habit makes you feel good, right? It's kind of like a drug. Like, if you're smoking cigarettes or you're smoking, or you're doing drugs, you can't quit cold turkey, because you're gonna have withdrawal symptoms, and then you're gonna feel like shit, and you're probably gonna go back you're gonna fall back and start doing those habits again. So what you want to do, actually, I'm gonna explain to you what you're gonna do later. But first thing, you don't want to quit cold turkey. And the second thing you don't want to do is start adding a bunch of self-improvement habits to your routine. So what this means is that if you're doing the bad habits today and you want to quit, you don't want to start tomorrow by adding a bunch of stuff like, tomorrow I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. Tomorrow I'm going to, go running at 6 a.m. I'm going to journal. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to, I don't know, deep work for 7 hours. And I'm going to do all this stuff like cold shower and all this stuff. You don't want to start adding a bunch of habits to your routine, because that's not gonna last. Okay, you're gonna just do it for maybe a week, maybe a couple weeks, but then you're just gonna give up, and you're not gonna be consistent, and you're gonna fall back into the bad habits. Okay, that's what you're not. So don't quit cold turkey, and don't start adding a bunch of self-improvement habits right away. Okay, this is what you need to do instead. So first of all, you need to identify the biggest bottlenecks in your life. So what are the things, the habits that are preventing you from focusing on what you actually need to do? If you have the habit of playing video games, you play too much video games, or maybe you watch too much porn, or maybe you, I don't know, you eat too much junk food. You need to identify what are those habits and make a list of those habits first. Then what you need to do is make a list of things that are going to actually help you get to your goal. Okay, what are the things that I need to do that are going to help me get to where I want to be? That could be, I don't know, going to the gym. That could be deep work. That could be, I don't know, reading books. That could be, doing these habits that are going to help you achieve your goals and going to help you get better and improve yourself. Okay. So first you identify the biggest bottleneck, and then you make a list of things that are going to help you get to your goal. Then what you do next is you gradually start reducing the bad habits and replacing them with the good habits. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a bad habit of, I don't know, scrolling on Instagram as soon as you wake up. So the first thing you do when you wake up is you get your phone and you start scrolling on TikTok or Instagram, or on social media. And you want to gradually start reducing that, okay? So what you do is, next day when you wake up, you don't look at your phone, and you replace that thing with something else. Like, that could be, I don't know, journaling. That could be meditating. That could be doing deep work. Okay, you just take out one habit and you replace it with something else. Now, let me give you another example. Let's say you play video games for 2 or 3 hours a day. Okay. You don't want to say, oh, tomorrow I'm just going to quit playing video games. I'm not going to play video games anymore. That's probably not going to happen. Maybe you're going to do it for 1-2 days. And then the third day, you're going to go back to playing video games. Okay. So you want to start reducing that gradually. So instead of playing 3 hours, for example, you just play 2 hours. And then maybe next week you play only 1 hour. And then you start reducing that. And gradually you start removing the habit. And then you start replacing that habit with something else. Maybe instead of playing video games, you could read a book or do something for your business, do outreach or whatever it is that you want to do. Okay. So you gradually start reducing them. And the next thing you need to do is to accumulate small wins, but they have to be consistent. So for example, because that's what builds up your confidence. So if you quit cold turkey, and let's say you're playing video games and you quit cold turkey, and tomorrow you say, okay, I'm not going to play video games anymore. And you're like, okay, day 1, you don't play video games anymore. Day 2, you don't play video games. Day 3, you don't play video games. And then, since you quit cold turkey and you didn't gradually reduce the habit, by the 4th day, for example, you're going to feel like, oh man, I really want to play video games. And you're probably going to go back to playing video games. And then you're going to feel like shit. And that's it. All your progress completely disappears and you go back to 0. And that's not what you want. So you want to accumulate small wins. That means that tomorrow you don't just stop playing video games, but you play maybe 30 minutes less. And you're like, okay, tomorrow I'm not going to play 3 hours. I'm just going to play 2 hours and a half. And you actually do it. And that's adding like a little plus to your confidence. Let me just show you. It's like adding a little plus to your confidence, okay? Every time you get a small win, it's like adding a plus, at each time. So you're accumulating consistent wins and you're building up your confidence. But every time you don't do what you're actually going to do, it's like adding like a little minus to your confidence, okay? And every time you don't do what you're supposed to do, you add minus, and that's what's gonna decrease your confidence, okay? And that's likely gonna happen if you quit cold turkey and if you go from 100 to 0, from day 1. You don't want to do that because you're not going to be consistent and you're just going to accumulate a bunch of losses, and that's going to, decrease your confidence, and then you're not going to be able to be consistent. Okay. You want to just gradually reduce the bad habits so you can add a bunch of pluses to your confidence, and then you can, so that you can eventually remove all those habits completely. And then after you remove those bad habits completely, then you can start adding new stuff. You can start adding, I don't know, cold shower or journaling or whatever it is. You don't want to do too much too soon. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so just to recap a little bit. So don't quit cold turkey. Don't start a bunch of self-improvement habits from day 1. Just identify what are the biggest problems in your life and gradually reduce those problems and replace those with, activities that actually make you feel good in the long run. And that could be long walks, going to the gym, reading, deep work. And so gradually you start reducing the bad habits and you replace them with the good habits. And after you just remove the bad habits completely, then you can start adding a bunch of stuff that, to build on top of that. You can, whatever it is that you want to add, cold showers, whatever it is you want to add. All right. So this is what I think you should do. And if you do this, I can guarantee that your life is going to be much better. You're going to feel much more fulfilled and happy. And yeah, you're just going to feel better.